Extreme Monsters, Book 2. What's with Wulf? Chapter 8. The Counterspell. Wulf, yelled Val. He hurled himself into the air and soared toward his flailing friend. Fast as he was, he knew he would be too late. Suddenly, a voice rang out high above him. Broken strut and twisted rail, let a splinter grab your tail. Wulf's tail first snagged on a splintered strut. Ouch! Screamed Wulf, grabbing his wounded tail. What happened? Wulf yanked the blindfold from his eyes and saw he was dangling by his tail 5 stories above the ground. He flailed his arms, trying to grab hold of the strut. His tail began to slip. Wulf, don't! Val yelled. Hold still. But though Val was flying toward him and Jinx was circling overhead on her broom, Wulf couldn't see or hear either of them. He reached out again, trying to grab a crossbeam, and slipped some more. Once again, the rickety structure surrounding him swayed alarmingly. Bela the bat flew above Val, squeaking, crack, crack in the wood, and fluttered off toward a crossbrace. Now Val could see one of the main cross girders beginning to give way. You help Wulf, Val called out to Jinx. We'll try to hold the roller coaster together. Val swooped down to grab Mumford, but Mumford was already climbing toward the cracked crossbrace. I see it, Val, he called out as he climbed like a spider, extending a bandage into the air, grabbing the next beam and hauling himself up. I'll take care of it. Val wasn't surprised. Mumford's specialty was speed climbing. He was completely fearless about heights. Just because Mumford was little didn't mean he wasn't smart and fast. Thanks, Mum-Man, Val called to the young mummy. But as he turned to fly back toward Wulf, the structure shook and lurched again. Val looked around in alarm, sure the entire section was about to crumble. If it did, the whole fragile roller coaster would come tumbling down like a house of cards. Just like in Wulf's spell, Val groaned. Once again, the structure settled. Val looked down and saw Steiner at the bottom of the roller coaster, his huge hands braced against the major load-bearing beam, shoving with all his monster strength. Val looked up. Mumford had reached his crossbrace and was wrapping one of his bandages quickly and carefully around the cracking area. So far, the repair was holding. Val flew toward Jinx. I like the way you made the magic bite Wulf's tail to save him, he said with a momentary grin. So what's the holdup? Jinx bit her lip. Wulf's wearing his neutralizer wristband. I'm afraid my counter spell will just bounce off him. Even if it doesn't, the shock of the magic hitting him might send him plummeting to the ground. I'll grab the wristband, Val said. Then you zap him, and don't worry, I'll catch him if he falls. As Val flew toward the dangling Wulf, he studied his friend carefully. He knew what he had to do. Wulf felt a tug on his arm as the neutralizer wristband seemed to slide magically from his wrist. He watched it float for a second in midair. then fall 5 long stories to the ground below. Whoa, dude, Wulf muttered to himself. That could have been the extreme monster. All right, Val shouted to Jinx. Let Wulf have it now. Val hovered beneath the dangling wolf as Jinx began to wave her wand and chant her well-rehearsed spell. Chocolate berry licorice chew. You know us and we know you. Mended eyes no longer mar your sight. You see us as we are. We're your pals and you're our friend. Let your scrambled memory mend. Jinx waved her wand in a squiggly circle, trying to move it exactly opposite to Wulf's earlier chaotic gesture. She held her breath and waited. Wulf's eyes suddenly went blank, and his body jerked hard in shock. For a second he hung there. Then his tail pulled loose, and he fell. Val, flying below, grabbed Wulf around his chest and held on tight. Huh? Wulf asked. Who? What? Val, what are you doing grabbing the extreme monster? It half worked, Val called to Jinx, but he still thinks I heard. Jinx yelled. There's more. Waving her wand again, she chanted. Mirror, mirror on the wall, all together standing tall, extreme monster, super friend, let your star fixation end. Again she waited. Wulf looked around. He blinked. Then he looked over his shoulder at Val and grinned. Dude, he asked, what are you and me doing all the way up here? Perched on her broom, Jinx was beaming. Wulf was himself again, for better or worse, which was just how they liked him. Hey, Jinx, a little help down here? Steiner shouted. Oh, said Jinx. Sorry. She swooped downward, chanting, roller coaster hold like glue, steady, solid, all day through. She stared at the roller coaster. Yes, she could see it, the ripple of magic shoring up the teetering structure. Okay, Steiner, she called out. It's safe to let go now. I've got it. Slowly, Steiner pulled his hands away. The rickety construction held. Come on down, Mumford, Steiner called, and Mumford obediently began to climb toward the ground. Val, Wulf, and Jinx landed at the same time. Dudette, thanks, Wulf said, but if you could fix this crusty old roller coaster any time you wanted, why didn't you? Because, said Jinx faintly. Val saw that Jinx's green-tinged skin had become chalk white. Because, she began again, Jinx collapsed from her broom in a dead faint. Steiner caught her before she hit the ground. Because, you doofus, Val said to Wulf, doing magic properly takes a lot out of a person. It's her personal energy that's holding up that roller coaster, and if they don't get some scaffolding soon, it's going to crash down around us. Oh, said Wulf. Suddenly they heard a deafening roar. The audience at the temporary stands was going wild, cheering and shouting the names of the extreme monsters. Some stunt, Damon Christopher sneered nastily as he walked up to Wulf, who was standing with his friends, trying to revive Jinx. You almost collapsed the whole structure. Plus, you had to be rescued by your ridiculous ex-teammates. Ex-teammates? Wulf said, looking confused. Long story, Val murmured. You zapped yourself with magic. You couldn't see or hear us. You joined Team Pendant. No way, Wulf said. I wouldn't. Have you seen what you're wearing? Mumford asked. Wulf looked down at his Team Pendant's uniform. Dude, I hate puke yellow, he screamed, tearing at the jersey to get out of it. Get it off me. Oh man, I didn't sign a contract, did I? Tell me I didn't. You didn't, Val told him, thanks to Jinx. Wulf handed the torn jersey back to Damon. Here, he said, take it. I don't want it. I'm off your team. Forever. Damon snatched the torn jersey and stalked away angrily. Behind his back, Clem and Cletus high-fived each other with slimy hands and lurched happily toward the Team Pendant trailer. The rest of the show was called off because of the condition of the roller coaster. Braces were brought in to shore up the crumbling structure. The stands were being cleared and the audience herded toward the exit. Reporters surrounded the extreme monsters. Did you know your proposal to blade the roller coaster blindfolded and without monster powers drew record donations for its restoration? One reporter asked. I said I'd do what? What am I, a moron? Wulf whispered in horror. Jinx looked at Val and both gave a little snicker. Was your defection to Team Pendant part of a publicity stunt to draw attention to the benefit? Asked a blue-skinned reporter from the Witchley Whisper. Are you happy that people really enjoyed the show, even if it featured more superheroics than extreme sports, and you had to be rescued? A human asked with a sneer. They looked to Wulf for comment, but Wulf just looked confused. Like I said, Val murmured, long story. Probably the less said right now the better. Whatever you say, Wulf agreed, with uncharacteristic humility. No comment, he told the reporters. Come on, dudes, Wulf told his friends. Let's find Doc. You can fill me in at Mr. Cool's. And that's how it all happened. Val finished the tale of their recent exploits. He took a final sip of his sparkling beet juice as the others demolished their ice cream. Sorry, Jinx, Wulf said. I acted like a total jerk. You did, said Mumford. You had us worried to death. Hush, Jinx told Mumford. I acted like a jerk too, Wulf. I shouldn't have gotten so mad. It just escalated the problem. No, Wulf said. I started it. It was definitely me acting like I was so great. If it hadn't been for you dudes' teamwork, I'd be fried bacon. Jinx? Val whispered. You didn't do something to Wulf. He's being so humble. I know, Jinx said, frowning at Wulf worriedly. I think it's just a reaction, like having a fever after you get a shot. It should wear off. Excellent, Val said with a grin. In that case, let's enjoy it while we can. You know, Wulf, he continued, since it's all your fault, I think the next round of snacks should be on you. Yeah, okay, Wulf agreed. That sounds fair. Jinx looked at Val. Val looked at Jinx. They looked at Steiner, Mumford, and Doc, whose mouths were hanging open. Hey, wait a minute, said Wulf, sounding indignant and much more like his old self. What am I saying? Who says it was my fault? Phew, said Val. That didn't last long, said Jinx. And Val, Jinx, Mumford, Steiner, and Doc burst out laughing. A second later, Wulf was laughing with them, the loudest of all. The end.